So this is a question and answer sessions, and Swami Brahmananda is going to read the questions, and I will do my level best to answer.
Om Swamiji. If God is one, why does he or she have so many names and forms?
Okay, this is an easy question. So what we say is that God is the self, Atman. That God which is one resides within our own hearts as our own self. And God is infinite and one. We say one without a second. One without a second means beside him nothing exists. Only God exists. But God is not a he, God is not a she. God is the absolute reality which is the ground of existence of everything else. In our scriptures it is said, out of him the whole creation came, creation exists within him, and creation dissolves within him. And God is our own self. And God's nature is pure consciousness, it is absolute, it is all-pervading, it fills the whole reality, it is the foundation of reality, and it transcends the whole reality, the whole creation. But God is not separate from us, so we cannot think about God as a separate being. But because of our peculiar way of thinking, our way of thinking is dualistic, in order for us to be able to relate to God, we think of God as a separate being, and then we superimpose upon God many, many names and forms and attributes so we can relate to God. So the many, many names of God were given to humanity so human beings can relate to God, although God is the closest thing to ourselves. There is nothing closer than God. God is our own existence, our own consciousness. Everything that we are is nothing but God. So why there are so many names? Because God has infinite attributes. For example, I am a Swami, but in relation to, let's say, in relation to my mother, I am a son. In relation to my brother, I am a brother. And in relation to so many other people, I have different names according to my own relationships. So, according to my own relationships, there will be so many names. So, because I am a son and also a brother, it doesn't mean that I'm two people. And there are so many other relationships. I am a Swami, doesn't mean that I am three people. And I am the student of Swami Vishnu Devananda, doesn't mean that I am four people. Now I can make a long list of all my relationships to so many people, so many beings. Doesn't mean that I am many people. I am just one person, but I have so many relationships and so many people have relationships to me. Therefore, I have so many names. But taking all these names, I'm still one. In fact, myself, I have no name. Even my birth name was given to me by someone else. And even names that I allocate to myself are things that can be allocated and given away. As for myself, I am one, and I am what I am regardless of the many names that are given to me. But the names are not meaningless. The names represent relationships, represents how people understand me, and represent how I understand myself. So if this is true about a human being, it is much more complicated when we talk about God. Since time immemorial, humanity tried to understand God, and humanity superimposed upon God so many names, so many forms, so many ways of understanding, and so on. So many relationships. Why so? Because God is infinite, and God includes within itself the whole creation, everything. And it also transcends creation. And it's also our own self. So you can see why human beings superimposed upon God so many names and so many forms. By itself, God has no name, God has no form, and God transcends our senses, our speech, our mind. And still, we are not different from God because God is our own self. So if I know that consciousness is God, if I exist, that existence is God. If I am happy, that bliss is God. If I am loving, that love is God, like this. If I have life, that life is God. Not just my life, your life also, everyone's life. And people are saying, what is the proof of the existence of God? The proof is our own consciousness. This is the proof. Consciousness is the proof for the existence of God. Existence is the proof for the existence of God. Bliss is the proof for the existence of God. Life is the proof for the existence of God. Love is the proof for the existence of God. The creation that I see is the proof for the existence of God. When I look at the creation, I look at God. When I look within, I look at God. The one that looks is God himself. I can go on and on and on. Then you'll ask him, why do I say so much? Because it's a complex subject. But God himself is simple. But our understanding is foggy. So we have to say so many words. So the best way to approach God is through meditation. We need to learn how to meditate. Then within the silence of meditation, our understanding of God, which is very, very near to us and not separate from us, becomes clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. And for the time being, this is what I have to say about this subject.
Swamiji. What are the signs of progress in meditation? What are the experiences of advanced meditators?
Meditation is like having eyes. It's like asking the question. Can you repeat the first part of the question?
Yes. Swamiji, what are the signs of progress in meditation?
The signs of progress in meditation that you are blind and now you see. This is the sign of progress, right? So you have the blind person starts to see. In the beginning only sees a little light. Similarly in meditation, we are like blind people. And when we meditate, the vision starts to come in. So in the beginning, and I have seen documentaries about people that were blind and they started to see. They were blind from birth, but it was not absolute blindness, so it was somehow they regained vision. But for so many years they were blind. So in the beginning, for the first time, they saw light. And it was a life-transforming experience. And then they started to see shapes, and then they started to see colors, and then they started to see a whole universe which they missed before, and they could not even imagine it. Similarly with meditation, it's just like this. It's like a blind person getting vision. It's like a deaf person getting the capacity of hearing. It's like a person which was unconscious becoming conscious again. Something like this. But the path towards meditation is simple. The path towards meditation consists of purification of the heart, from selfishness to karma yoga. This is the foundation. developing devotion and all-embracing love through bhakti yoga, through the yoga of devotion, and practicing the many steps that lead to meditation by practicing the yoga of meditation, which is called Raja Yoga, and ultimately attaining real wisdom by the practice of Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. So by going to all of these yogas, slowly, slowly, our capacity of meditation increases. Those of us that practice Hatha Yoga, now I need to say something about Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is an integral part of the yoga of meditation. We cannot separate it. Swamiji said, Raja Yoga and Hatha Yoga, they are like the two sides of the same coin. So don't think, in our system, it's very important to practice Hatha Yoga in order to gain the capacity of meditation, because we have a physical body, and the physical body needs to be integrated within the meditation. We are not astral beings. We are beings with a physical body. So meditation is done with the mind, but we have a physical body. So how are we going to integrate it? By the practice of Hatha Yoga. So for those meditators, they don't practice Hatha Yoga, I highly recommend to do practice Hatha Yoga. And for the practitioners of Hatha Yoga, I do highly recommend to practice the yamas and the niyamas of Raja Yoga, the ethical practices and moral practices of Raja Yoga, because they are the foundation of the practice of Hatha Yoga. If you want to be truly a good Hatha Yogi, you need to practice the yamas and the niyamas. But the asanas and the pranayama are extraordinarily important in order to gain the capacity of meditation along the way. So there are those which are only scholars, but yogis are more than scholars. There are those which are experts. They know scriptures very well. But they read about the experiences of others, not their own experience. But yogis are the ones which have a direct experience of the divine within their own self. So since time immemorial, yogis practice karma yoga, the yoga of selfless service, bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion, and then hatha yoga. Even Adi Shankaracharya, the great Adi Shankaracharya, he was a great master of hatha yoga. And we have proof of it. So Hatha Yoga is not just for health, it's for self-realization. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is very important. When the physical body is younger, it's easier to practice Hatha Yoga. But in all the scriptures of Hatha Yoga, it is written, you can start the practice of Hatha Yoga at any age, and you'll be successful. And whether you are male or female or whatever, you can be successful. In all the scriptures of Hatha Yoga, even if you are sick, you practice Hatha Yoga, you will become healthy, and you can become a practitioner. So I emphasize this point because many people are trying to meditate unsuccessfully, but this is because they don't follow the instruction of the masters. So about this question, what are the signs of progress and so on? The sign of progress is that the higher life comes into our direct experience. There is a higher life. There is a higher understanding. There is a higher capacity to perceive. This is called the yogic vision, the yogic way of seeing reality. Right now, we live on the surface of things. Yogis are seeing deep and directly. But for this, we need to experience the teaching. It's not enough to understand the theory of the teaching. So, and of course, there are those higher teachings. We teach Vedanta, but Vedanta is extraordinarily high. And before you can actually realize the teachings of Vedanta, you need to become a yogi. So to become a yogi, you need to be a practitioner. So I want to tell you something. Yoga is 100% successful. Not 99%. But it is successful for these people that actually practice it. If you do sadhana, you are going to get only good results, not negative results. Only good results in any point of view. You'll become a good meditator, everything. But you have to do sadhana, you have to practice. Yoga is successful only for those people that practice it, not for other people. So if your teacher practices yoga, this is not going to help you. This is going to help the teacher. So if you do sadhana, you will become a yogi and you'll be so happy. And you'll be a meditator for sure. So this is what I'm trying to say. Don't be just a scholar. Be a yogi. Okay? Don't ask me why I say these things. Because of the question, of course. The question was like this.
Swamiji. As we age, our conceptualizations of God naturally evolve and mature. In this lineage, we are taught to keep one mantra and one focal point. Can the Bhava change over time, or should we strive to cultivate one Bhava throughout our lives?
It's like talking about love. You have a lover and you have the beloved. The problem, you would never saw your beloved. You talk about love like, oh Swamiji, as I evolve in life, my love towards my beloved changes. But I never saw the beloved. And I never experienced love, but it evolves. How can it evolve if you never experienced it? How can you love if you never saw the beloved? What does it have to do with your biological age? We're not talking about biological age, we're talking about spiritual age, not biological age. What is biological age? There are little children which are yoga masters. And at their feet sit people 80 years old. Adi Shankaracharya was in Varanasi, and he arrived in Varanasi around the age of 11, 12, something like this. Let's say at the age of 13 he arrived in Varanasi. And his first disciple, main disciple, was Padmapada. At that time he was 80 years old. So you have that 13-year-old boy at his feet, an 80-year-old master. He was a great master, Padmapada. He sat at the feet of Shankaracharya. So what I'm trying to say, you are an immortal being, you are a soul, you come again, and you are on a very long journey. And the main thing is that those things have to be real for you. What does it matter how it evolves? First of all, you have to see the beloved directly. Then you have to fall in love. Then you have the problems of the person that fell in love. Not previously. We would like to fall in love, but we didn't even see the beloved. So I go back to the same thing. It has nothing to do with biological age. Nothing. Physical body may disturb a little bit, no doubt. It has to do with spiritual age, spiritual maturity. I think this is sufficient for this question.
Swamiji. If someone has a yearning for a spiritual connection with God, what is the first thing they should do?
Karma yoga. If someone has a yearning to what?
connection to God.
To God, what's the first thing to do? Karma yoga. We need to open our heart. We need to serve our fellow beings. Actual service, like serving food, cleaning the toilets, actually serving people, doing good. Service, karma yoga. This is the absolute first step. This leads to the direct vision of God. Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says it clearly. See if Nyaneshwari Chaitanya remembers the shloka. You remember the shloka? Lord Krishna says, what happens to a person that is a karma yogi? You remember? Anyway. Lord Krishna says clearly that if you are a karma yogi, you'll attain self-realization. You'll know God. So the heart must open. That impurity, which is called selfishness, has to go away. Then, because of it, once the heart is pure, we get bhakti, we get devotion. We get direct connection to God, direct vision. We know what is love. Then we are on our way. So like Mahatma Gandhi, like Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, and Swamiji, which was a great master of karma yoga, they all said, serve. Just serve other people. Take care of other people. Be good, do good. This is not so difficult. I knew a person, he was a saintly person, and I asked him, what did you do in order to attain this state? And he told me, at a certain point in my life, I took a decision. I will do every day one good deed. Every day, one good deed. Not two good deeds, not three good deeds, only one. But at least one. I will do every day one good deed. I will not allow the day to pass without doing at least one good deed. And he said, I have stuck to this all my life. It's not so difficult. I wake up in the morning, I take the vow. Today, I will do at least one good deed. I can do it in the morning to make sure that it actually happens. The thing is, that man became a saintly person. He told me the secret, his secret. He took care of other people all his life. So was Swamiji. So the answer to this question is the first step is karma yoga. It's the first step, it's the middle step, it's the last step. Okay.
Swamiji, how can one know one's own swadharma?
Lots of Sanskrit today. How can one know what is my duty? I am alive, and what is my purpose in this life? What is my vocation? What is my duty? How do I know? One way, of course, is to ask your own guru. Another way is to go to a good Vedic astrologer, because in your Vedic astrology is about karma. You can see the swadharma. Very easy. Another way is whatever I do at every moment, this is my duty during that moment. What is my duty? Swami Sivananda was very clear about it. He said there are two duties. One is relative and one is ultimate. The relative duty is to be good and to do good. Always to do good. At every moment, right now, is there anything that I can do which will be a good deed, to do something good, to help somebody? A good deed now. And then there is the ultimate duty. The ultimate duty is the realization of the self. Relative duty to be good and to do good. Ultimate duty is to realize the self by practicing yoga. So if you are a mother, be a good mother. If you are an employee, be a good employee. If you are a business person, be a good business person. What's the meaning of it? Make society more affluent, more wealthy. Means a good business person, according to our system, has to make society more affluent. So people are not poor, do not suffer. If you are a kshatriya, a warrior, see that righteousness prevails. See that righteousness prevails. If you are a brahmana, if you are a spiritual leader, practice sadhana, practice spiritual practices, and teach others also. If you are a son or a daughter, be a good son, be a good daughter. Take care of your parents. If you are a staff in the ashram, be a good staff. If you are a brahmachari, be a good brahmachari. Sannyasi, be a good sannyasi. Because we know what we are supposed to do. And do not identify with your duty. You are not your duty. You are the immortal self, infinite, all-pervading, pure consciousness. This is what you are. But at the moment you play a role, you have a duty. Do it well. Help others. Those of you that read the book of Swami Sivananda called Practice of Karma Yoga knows he dedicated a large section of the book to the subject of swadharma, on duty. He writes a lot about it. Why? Because it's very important. The word duty itself is important. We have a duty. Swami Shivananda points, look at the sun. The sun has a duty. The sun doesn't say, oh, today I don't feel like rising. What will happen? So the moon does its duty. So the plants, so the animals. You see, what's it? Napoleon and the cats. They are never late for a staff meeting. They always come first, and they see that we are not there because maybe satsang is late. They come here to call the staff to come to the staff meeting. They are so punctual. So they all know what is their duty. They also have duties. And the plants know, and the birds know. We don't know, but we can know. So if every person will ask himself, what is my duty at this moment? My duty at this moment is to do good. This is my primary duty. What can I do right now which I can consider as doing good? Then, ultimate duty, I must realize the self in this life. How? By learning and practicing yoga. Then I do it. That's what I can say about it. This is what Swami Shivananda taught. Okay.
Swamiji, how can one lead the life of yogic sadhana, perform their duties and serve humanity when there are so many challenges everywhere?
Challenges are there anyway. See? If I do not practice yoga, it doesn't mean that there will be no challenges. If I don't practice yoga, there will be even more challenges. If I practice yoga, there will be less challenges. But anyway, the moment I am born, there are going to be innumerable challenges. Why are there challenges? Because I have to evolve. For example, if I have obnoxious people around me, what is the purpose of it? The purpose of it is so I can develop patience. I can develop forgiveness. I can develop equanimity and so on. So difficulties are there in order to train us to become better people, to become more evolved spiritually. And also, and this is the most important thing, people are there so we can serve them. This is why they are there. Difficult people are there so we can forgive them. This is why difficult people are there. So we can develop tolerance and patience. This is why they are there. And we are here also for so many reasons. So all are here to help each other. What was the question?
Swamiji, how can one lead a life of yogic sadhana, perform their duties and serve humanity when there are so many challenges everywhere?
Better. Because there are so many challenges, we can live better, much better. If there were no challenges, we would be in trouble. Because there are so many challenges, we can really evolve. You see? Swamiji told us, when you are in a cave, you cannot evolve so well because there are not too many challenges, mainly inner challenges, but not many challenges. He told us many sadhus are in a cave and most of the day they are sleeping. What is there to do in a cave? You cannot develop patience because patience towards whom? You cannot develop forgiveness. Whom are you going to forgive? So many things cannot be developed by just being in a cave. So caves are, afterwards, what is a cave? It's like a room, you know, like you have a room, big deal. So some yogis are in a cave because they are very evolved, so they need to be in a cave. But otherwise, to be in a cave is not a big deal. A big deal is to be in the world and to develop all the divine virtues within ourselves and to help others to develop them. So challenges actually are blessings in disguise, according to Swami Sivananda. They are stepping stones to success. So we need to look upon them as messages from the divine. We need to look upon them as blessings. They are difficult, but there are also opportunities.
Swamiji, why is seeking pleasure or being attached to pleasure is a root of suffering?
Because due to attachment, because doesn't matter what I do, I cannot have always pleasure. It's not possible. Every human being experiences within a given lifetime both pleasure and pain. And usually we experience more pain than pleasure. But the thing is, when we experience pleasure, we would like to continue it. We become attached to it. Sometimes we become attached also to pain, but not as much as we become attached to pleasure. But the thing is, we do not understand where pleasure comes from. If I have a happy experience, to understand where this happy experience comes from, I need to understand the law of karma. A happy experience is the result of something good that I have done in my past. That good thing that I have done in my past is the cause, and the happy experience is the result. So if I desire to have many happy experiences in my life, I need to do many good deeds. And if I do many good deeds, the result of happy experiences is not going to be immediate. When I do a good deed, it creates a subtle karmic seed in my subconscious mind. That karmic seed sometime it will ripen and it will take the form of a happy experience. Similarly, pain is the result of something bad I have done in my past. It's karma. So those that strive for pleasure, those that strive for happy experiences in their life, they have to do many, many, many good deeds. And the best is not to do them with a selfish motive. If we do good deeds with a selfish motive, we diminish them. If selflessness becomes our second nature, we are going to be happy immediately. We don't need pleasure. Happiness will be right there. The moment we become selfless, we are going to be happy. We are going to transcend karma. Otherwise, we have to do lots of good deeds, and sometime the result will be happy experiences. What was the question?
The question was why is seeking pleasure or being attached to pleasure a root of suffering?
Oh, it's very clear. Because we desire pleasure, we become attached. Attachment is like addiction. We become addicted to pleasure, but we don't know how to sustain it. We have no idea where this pleasure came from and how to keep it, how to continue it. We don't have the slightest idea. So now I just explained, if you desire pleasure, if you are attached to pleasure, if you want it to continue, you have to do a lot of good deeds. Even then you are going to suffer. Because it doesn't matter how many good deeds you are doing, you are also doing a lot of bad deeds, and you are going to suffer. But if you really want to sustain happiness, do a lot of good deeds, but without a selfish motive. Become a karma yogi. Then, when you become selfless, you will immediately be happy. Happiness will be like your second nature. You'll be peaceful, you'll be happy, you'll be loving, and you will not be attached to pleasure because you are happy. You will not suffer. Even if you suffer, you'll be happy. So this was the explanation. There are two ways. One is through karma, and one is through yoga. If you become selfless, you'll be happy. If you do a lot of good deeds, you are going to have happy experiences. If you do bad deeds, you're going to suffer, to have painful experiences. But if you are a yogi, you are going to experience your own nature. You'll be happy, peaceful, loving, wise, powerful in the sense that you can materialize your good vision.
Swamiji, who is a real yogi?
A real yogi is one who has a guru and who receives the teaching from the guru and who applies the teaching, who actually practices the teaching, and ultimately who experiences the teaching, and then passes this teaching to other people. In other words, what you received, you have to give to humanity. So this is a yogi. He has a guru, he receives the teaching from the guru, he receives the practical instructions from the guru, he puts them in practice, he experiences the teaching, he realizes the teaching, and he gives it to other people so they can also benefit. This is a real yogi.
Swamiji, How can I not be swayed by raga and dvesha, or likes and dislikes, so much? How do I not get so affected by likes and dislikes?
First of all, we need to understand likes and dislikes. Likes means attraction. Dislikes means aversion. These are two currents within life. We are attracted to things, and we have aversion towards things. These are the two forms of desire, attraction and aversion. We are attracted to what is pleasurable, and we have aversion towards what is painful. And because of it, our mind is never peaceful. And because of it, we suffer. When the mind is not peaceful, we suffer. So we need to develop equanimity. Develop equanimity is, instead of being swayed by attractions and aversions, we develop a peaceful mind. How do we develop a peaceful mind? When there is attraction towards pleasure, we do not follow it. When there is aversion, we do not necessarily run away from it. But we keep an equal mind. We keep a peaceful mind. And really, in order not to have attractions and aversion, we need to develop love. Love is developed in two stages. First, by serving our fellow beings, selfless service. Second, by developing bhakti or devotion. Once love manifests, there will be less and less and less and less attractions and aversions. Instead of desires, we are going to have love. We all know the nature of love is to give. And we all know the nature of love is also to receive. But truly, the nature of love is to give. In giving, there is no attachment. In real giving, there is no attachment. So, Swamiji always told us, first of all, become a karma yogi. Learn to love your fellow beings. Then you are going to discover God. Once you discover God, your heart is going to explode. And you will become a devotee. You become a lover of God. Now, God encompasses everything. God is all. The whole creation is within God, and God is our own self. So when we discover God, devotion is awakened. Love is awakened. And raga dvesha, attraction and aversion, disappears. So the best way to deal with attraction and aversion is by developing love. And the best way to develop love is through karma yoga and subsequently through the practice of bhakti yoga. Then comes meditation. To meditation you get the yogic vision. You see things like a yogi. You lead the higher life. You gain wisdom. You gain peace. Then the question of attraction and aversion does not come anymore. So, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, be a yogi. Yoga is skill in action. Be a yogi. Yoga is skill in action." And in so many places in the Bhagavad Gita, he told Arjuna, be balanced amongst the pairs of opposites. Means pairs of opposites, some experiences are painful and we have aversion towards them. Some experiences are pleasurable, we have attraction towards them. But he told Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, be balanced among the pairs of opposites." He gave him this instruction. So I gave you the method how to overcome raga and dvesha, how to overcome the suffering of attractions and aversions through the practice of karma yoga and subsequently bhakti yoga and raja yoga. But first of all, karma yoga.
Swamiji, what should we do when we lose hope, when we feel that there is no way out of suffering?
you need to approach, it's good to have a teacher. And it's good to be in the company of practitioners, yoga practitioners. It's good to be supported. And it's good to take positive action. When many times we feel there is no hope because it's only at the level of the mind. But when we take what is at the level of the mind and we turn it into action, positive action. Positive action means positive physical action, positive speech, positive thought, good company, good food, being in nature, good study, and not thinking so much about ourselves, but even in a state of difficulty, thinking more about others, serving others, taking care of our fellow beings, not only people, can be animals, can be plants, can be the planet. So many things. Like if I only think I suffer now, I would like to do good right now, what should I do? You will see that hopelessness, yes, that hopelessness will vanish along the way. Turn hopelessness into positive action. Action is better than just thought. Thought is good, but thought plus positive action is better. Turn it in. If you can practice yoga asanas, practice yoga asanas. If you can practice pranayama, practice pranayama. If you can meditate, meditate. If you can do japa, do japa. If you can do karma yoga, do karma yoga. Satsanga, being in the company of practitioners, do it. Run away from your loneliness. Do not be alone. It's not good. Even if you like to be alone, once in a while come out and serve others. It's not good to be alone. Aloofness is for very advanced practitioners, not just for anybody. Satsanga, good company, is very important. Approach a teacher. Step out of your hopelessness. The best way to step out of hopelessness, take care of people, of other people. You'll see that other people also have problems. And when you help them, you help yourself. So many ways to do it.
Swamiji, what are the specific vows taken as a Brahmachari and a Swami?
How is it going to benefit everyone? What are the vows? A Brahmachari is a student. When you become a student, you take certain vows. So Brahmacharis take vows of celibacy, but their vows go beyond it because they take other vows as well, vows of discipleship or vows of being a student. And a sannyasi take much higher vows, vows of renunciation, vows of ahimsa or non-violence. So many vows out there. And also they are initiated into the higher life. But to be initiated means to be empowered. To be empowered means that you get the permission to do certain practices. You get the permission to study certain things. You get the permission to practice certain things. But if you do not practice, then you are wasting the opportunity. So indeed, it's a wonderful thing to become a Brahmachari, and it's a wonderful thing to become a sannyasi. But the most wonderful is to be a practitioner. So I remember Swami Devananda. He told us, be a yoga practitioner, not a yoga preacher. He said, this is the most important. If you practice yoga, you will be happy and you will make other people happy. Be a practitioner. So whether you are a Brahmachari, be a practitioner. If you are a sannyasi, be a practitioner. If you are a practitioner, you'll be happy, you'll make other people happy. It's as simple as this. Vows means, the word vow means a spiritual commitment. You make spiritual commitments, and your intention is to keep your commitments. This is what it is. And the commitments have to do with the knowledge that you receive, with the practice that you receive, with permissions that you receive to do certain practices and so on. That's all. Okay?
Swamiji, how does near-death experience contribute to one's spiritual evolution?
Do you think that I had a near-death experience? That's like, why do you think I'm expert about near-death experience? This question should be addressed to whoever had a near-death experience, right? In this regard, I'm not qualified because I did not have such a thing. But we bring here people that had near-death experiences, then we can hear from them. Or we can read books. In the books, we can read about their experiences. But to be honest with you, I would rather bring someone that had a near-death experience. You should hear directly from that person. Or I would rather direct you to someone who dedicated his life or her life to study this subject, like Dr. Raymond Moody, we bring here so many times. Or direct you to read some good books. There are many good books about the subject. But I don't like to speak about things that I know very little about them, because yes, I read a lot about it, I heard a lot about so many things. But this is not real knowledge. Real knowledge is when you have direct experience. And this I did not have. So I cannot answer this question.
Swamiji, how should one practice Satyam? The difficulty arises in situation in which I think small lies can make things more simple, or I believe they will serve the greater good. Sometimes I believe that when a person hears a certain fact, it will cause harm, so I don't tell. And this leads to small lies further down the road. How should I take up the practice?
We say, speak the truth, but the truth must be kind. I repeat, speak the truth, but the truth must be kind. So if you speak the truth and also you hurt, you should speak the truth in a way, you should do your level best not to hurt. It's not always possible. But at least this is our teaching. Speak the truth, but the truth must be kind. But speak the truth. It's very important to speak the truth. Very important to be truthful. What you think, what you say, what you do must be in agreement. This is the definition. What you think, what you say, what you do must be in agreement. And also, when you communicate, your intention should be that the other side will receive whatever you think and say properly, right? You should not try to deceive other people. Sometimes we speak in a deceiving manner. We should not speak like this. We should try so our speech will be beneficial. We should communicate well. If we don't know how to communicate well, we should train ourselves. So the intention should be, I would like to tell you something, I would like you to understand it the way I try to communicate it. And in my daily life, what I think, what I say, what I do should correspond with each other. But speak the truth, but it has to be kind. So if I notice that I cause suffering, while I say, Technically, I speak the truth, but I cause suffering. Then I need to find ways to speak the truth, but not to cause suffering. And this is a little difficult. Now the person said, I say little lies. If you say little lies because you are afraid, this is one motivation. I am afraid, therefore I say little lies. These little lies maybe do not hurt anybody, but maybe they hurt me. Because I am not successful in speaking the truth due to fear. Now, of course, to overcome fear, we need courage. To develop courage, we need to practice. It needs to be developed gradually. So maybe there are so many lies that I say because I am afraid. So maybe I take an easy one. Maybe one little lie, instead of telling the lie, I will speak the truth. But in a kind way. Just in order to overcome the fear. And when I'm not afraid anymore to a great degree, then I should pay more attention to not hurting other people. So how to say the truth in such a manner that other people will not be hurt? This needs to be developed. There needs to be an intention. So speak the truth, but the truth must be kind. This is for yogis. Speak the truth, even if you are afraid, but nobody expects that you are going to achieve this overnight. It takes time to overcome fear. It's very difficult. Even more, to speak the truth in order to help to speak the truth on behalf of another person, to overcome fear in order to help another person, it's even more difficult. So there are many, many, many levels to remove fear, and there are many, many, many levels to truly become kind and truthful at the same time. Speak the truth, but it has to be kind. And we always need to ask ourselves, okay, what I thought, what I said, what I did it correspond? If it did, it's the truth. Did it hurt another person? Was it kind? Yes, it was kind. Very good. Good practice. Like this. This was a good practice. But practice is something that needs to be repeated again and again until we attain mastery. We need to practice, practice, practice. And we are going to have lots and lots of opportunities. This is certain. Okay. Swamiji. Swami Swaroopananda takes care of the time factor. 2 more? 3 more? 3 more questions. Okay.
Swamiji, can you please explain the prayer we do before meals and why do we repeat it before eating?
There is one absolute reality which is of the nature of consciousness, existence, and bliss, and is called Brahman. It's an infinite reality. It's pure consciousness. It's all-pervading. It manifests innumerable names and forms which we call creation. That creation exists within it. That creation dissolves within it. That infinite reality is our own self. And everything that we perceive as separate from ourselves is actually our own self. So when I perceive Swami Brahmananda is my own self in the form of Swami Brahmananda. Jnaneshwari Chaitanya is my own self in the form of Jnaneshwari Chaitanya. Mukti, the cat, is my own self in the form of the cat. Napoleon the dog is my own self in the form of the dog. The plants are my own self in the form of the plants. The moon is my own self in the form of the moon. The sun is my own self in the form of the sun. Everything is my own self in that form. What I experience within is my own self in that form. Everything is nothing but the one self, and that self is who am I. Now, what was the question?
The question was about the verse from the Gita, which we repeat before the meals.
Right. So, when I lift my hand, it is not me who lifts the hand. You need to understand it. The hand does not lift itself. The body does not lift. The whole universe is behind the lifting of this hand. All the laws of the universe are here and now. All the material of the universe is here and now. All the energies, consciousness, mind, everything. And the universe is not separated into pieces. Everything exists everywhere. So the whole universe, the infinite consciousness, everything is here. So when I lift the hand, it's not me, it's not the little me who lifts the hands. It is the universe itself who lifts the hands. When I think, it's not me who thinks. If I could think, I could stop the thinking. I cannot. I'm not the one who thinks. Thoughts are just gushing like a river to my mind. I'm not the one who breathes. I'm not the one who makes the heart pumping. I'm not the one that causes the nerve impulses to flow to my body. There is a great reality, and this is just a little manifestation of the great reality. I am that great reality, but not exclusively. We are all one. So I say, Om Brahma Padam Brahma Havir Brahmagnahu Brahmanahutam Brahma Ivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. So when a priest pours ghee into the sacrificial fire, so the priest thinks that he is the priest. He thinks that the ladle is separate from him. He thinks that the ghee is separate from the ladle and from him. He thinks that the fire is separate, like this. But what this prayer says is the priest is Brahman, is the absolute reality. And the ladle is Brahman, the absolute reality. The ghee is Brahman, the absolute reality. The fire is Brahman, the absolute reality. The sacrifice itself is Brahman, the absolute reality. So, if you understand reality in such a way, you are performing what we call the wisdom sacrifice. So, because in our teaching, eating is a form of sacrifice, because for me to exist, something has to sacrifice itself. If you really look at it, eating is a sacrifice. It's an act of sacrifice. And I am offering this sacrifice in a fire. This is the fire of digestion. Now, I can eat like an automaton, or I can eat like a priest that is doing a sacred ritual. But there is a higher way to look at it. Not just that I am a priest which performs a sacrifice, but I am Brahman. I am the immortal self. And so this food is nothing but the immortal self. And the sacrifice is the immortal self. And everything that seems separate is nothing but the immortal self, which I am, which you are. We are all one. When I eat and I think like this is called a wisdom sacrifice. It becomes enlightened eating. So this is why we say this prayer at the beginning of eating, or otherwise we have to repeat the whole 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the two. 15th chapter is 20 shlokas. This is only one shloka, so we can choose 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita or this one shloka. So this one shloka encompasses within itself everything. So we repeat this shloka.
Om Swamiji. Is there a difference between a guru and a spiritual guide? How does one distinguish between the two?
A guru is a teacher. A yoga guru is a teacher of yoga. But as you know, there are yogis at different levels. So let's say there may be an advanced yogi, but that advanced yogi is not self-realized. But still, that advanced yogi can teach you a lot. He is so much more advanced than you, so you can learn from that person. But if you want to attain self-realization, you need to learn from someone who has attained self-realization. You should not waste your life searching for someone that has attained self-realization, because you can progress a lot by learning from an advanced student. But ultimately, in order to attain self-realization, we must find a teacher that has attained self-realization. Such a teacher is called a Sadguru. Sadguru means a perfect guru. What are the signs of a Sadguru? First of all, that person has realized the self. Second, that person is well versed in all the scriptures that deal with moksha or spiritual liberation. He's a Shrotriya. He's a person that knows well. Why does he need to know the scriptures? Because he needs to communicate the teaching to another person. So the scriptures are means of knowledge. Then, and the most important thing, it is said that such a teacher has to be an ocean of mercy, an ocean of kindness, an ocean of love. Why? Because he needs to have that compassion, that desire to help others, to teach others. Because these people, which are self-realized, have fulfilled all of their desires. There is no existing desire in this universe that they did not fulfill. So why do they teach? Because they are like an ocean of mercy, like an ocean of compassion. There are yogis who attain self-realization who do not teach, but they help humanity in different ways. But we need to find such a person that will be ready to teach, like Swami Sivananda, like Swamiji. So a guru in yoga is not just a teacher, is a teacher who is an expert in the science of yoga. So in the beginning, we can accept an advanced student as a teacher. But if we want to attain self-realization, we must accept someone who is self-realized as our teacher. And it's difficult to find such a one, but it's possible. It is said, when the student is ready, the guru will wait at his door. It's going just to be just like this. When you are ready for such a guru, that guru will come to your door even. This is how it is. Okay, last question.
Swamiji, what is the purpose of human life?
This is a difficult question because the problem with this is that every person has a direct experience of his or her own life. So if every person will ask this question, what is the purpose of my human life? See, this is a very good question. If everyone will ask himself or herself the question, what is the purpose of my human life? What this person will answer. So in our scriptures, we say human life has 4 purposes: artha, kama, dharma, moksha, the 4 purusharthas. Artha. First of all, the purpose of human life is to sustain itself. Artha means making a living, acquiring wealth. Why do we need to acquire wealth? So we can live. Let's say you need to sustain your own existence. If you have a family, you need to sustain your family's existence. If there is an ashram, you need to sustain the ashram's existence. So for this, we need to acquire some form of material wealth. It's called artha. It's legitimate to make a living. Second is called kama. Kama means desire. So there are desires which are righteous. Human desires, even worldly desires, but righteous. So they are considered to be legitimate. So So people who have such desires may not be ready for the life of sannyasa, life of renunciation, but they can lead a very good and righteous human life. And they can fulfill their desires in a righteous manner. Righteous manner means without hurting others, and to the opposite, benefiting others, and so on. And then there is dharma. Dharma means righteousness. So I acquire wealth in order to take care of my own life and the life of my the people that I take care of, and so on, my community, and so on. And then I fulfill human desires, but in a righteous manner, without hurting others. And not only not hurting, but benefiting others. It's called karma. But now there is a principle which is called righteousness, which is I should do my level best to learn what are those things which are bringing maximum good to others and are minimizing the evil. In other words, refraining from evil and doing good as much as possible. So we don't have enough knowledge. We need to learn what is dharma, what is adharma, what is goodness, and what is the opposite of goodness. What will benefit people, what will bring suffering to people. And I should try to follow dharma. I should try to follow righteousness. Even little children, many times they would say, but this is not fair. They'll say, this is not fair. Now, if you turn it into higher language, you'll say, this is not righteous. Children will say, this is not fair. We will say, this is not righteous. Let's say you play a game with a child and you cheat. The child will go wild. It's unfair, it's unfair, it's unfair. Now, in our language, you will say, this is unrighteous. So if you take life as a divine play, we have to play it in a righteous way, in a righteous manner, bringing maximum benefit to others and reducing suffering. We need to learn how to do it. This is called dharma, righteousness. And then ultimately, as human beings, all of us have a higher purpose to realize the self and to attain spiritual liberation. All of us. This is the highest human goal. So human life, according to our teaching, has 4 goals. Artha, acquiring wealth using righteous means, not cheating, not just using in right, just to do it for good, and fulfilling desires, but in a righteous manner. Doing good to ourselves, doing good to others, and learning what is righteous, what is unrighteous, following the path of righteousness, and ultimately following the path that leads to self-realization and spiritual liberation, moksha. These are the 4 human goals. This is according to our teaching, but a person needs to understand these things directly. We need to meditate on this. We need to reflect on this, and if we really understand these things, they become part of us, they become part of our life, and eventually we realize them and we experience them directly. So these are the 4 purusharthas, these are the 4 goals of life according to the yogic teaching. Om Tat Sat.